Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. You may also want to check out my new mini course, Telepathically Connect with Your Specific Person. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to address a question that I get quite often and that can be quite confusing to people. And it has to do with ignoring the 3D reality. How do we ignore the 3D reality? What it actually means to ignore the 3D reality, and how it all works into conscious manifesting of our desires. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So I know this whole concept of ignoring the 3D reality in order to manifest your desires that you might not yet be seeing in the 3D can be quite confusing to a lot of people. I know a lot of people take ignoring the 3D to mean being delusional. A lot of people take it to mean that they need to pretend that whatever it is that they're seeing in the 3D, they're not actually seeing. A lot of people take it as if they need to lie to themselves or fool themselves. And I'm here to tell you that ignoring the 3D is actually much simpler than that. And it doesn't have to mean any of those things. It doesn't have to mean that you need to be delusional, that you need to be lying to yourself or fooling yourself or pretending that any unfavorable or unwanted circumstances are not happening or you don't see them. No. What it actually means to ignore the 3D is to stay indifferent to it. You don't have to pretend that you're not noticing the circumstances that you don't like. You don't have to lie to yourself that something you might not be liking might not be happening. You don't have to be fooling yourself. You don't have to feel delusional. Nothing like that. None of that is needed or necessary. Ignoring the 3D simply means staying indifferent to it. Or at least as indifferent as humanly possible. I know we're all human. I know we're all conditioned to look at the 3D and to look at circumstances. I know it's not always the easiest thing, especially if something is triggering. However, at the same time, as a conscious manifestor, you need to always remember that circumstances are not set in stone. Circumstances can change. The 3D can change. It's completely and totally malleable. And you have the power to shape your reality. You have the power to change and shape your 3D the way that you want. So it's not so much pretending and fooling yourself and ignoring the 3D as such. It's more like observing the 3D, looking at what it's showing you, seeing it as feedback of where you are internally in your inner world. What's your dominant inner state? Because the 3D always reflects your dominant inner states. But at the same time, remaining indifferent or at least not so touched by the 3D because you know it can be changed. You know it is malleable. You know you have the power to shape it. And how do you know that? You know that because you know imagination creates reality. You know that the 3D reality is always a reflection of your inner world, who you are within, what your beliefs are, what your assumptions are, what your expectations are, what are the meanings that you give to things and to circumstances, and overall, who you are within and how you feel and how you think towards a certain situation, a certain circumstance, a certain relationship, a certain person, a certain desire. So when we say ignore the 3D, it's more of an encouragement to not allow it to get to you so much. It's more of an encouragement to see it as feedback. It's more of an encouragement to remember that nothing is set in stone, that everything can always change, no matter how difficult or how impossible or how insurmountable your circumstances might feel. And it's an encouragement to start seeing things from a different perspective. It's an encouragement to not put so much weight on the 3D, not judge everything based on the 3D, not base your expectations of what might happen in the future on the past, on the old story, on the 3D, on the circumstances. It's an encouragement to just change your perceptions and your perspective on yourself, on circumstances, on situations that you encounter in your life, on other people, on your relationships, and on your desires. So this whole concept of ignoring the 3D is more of an invitation to change your mindset and change your way of thinking, feeling, reacting to things, responding to things and circumstances in different ways, because you know that the power to shape your life, the power to shape your reality, the power to shape your 3D lies within you. It's because you know that once you change your dominant inner states, how you think, how you assume, what you believe about things in general, about your desire specifically, is ultimately going to determine what you get to experience in the 3D and what the 3 gets to reflect back to you. So you want to be approaching the 3D, especially when it's showing circumstances that you don't like or you don't prefer, with an attitude that is, let's say, somewhat emotionally distanced. An attitude that is not so emotionally attached to what you see as a problem, what you see as an issue, what you see as an insurmountable circumstance. You don't want to be doing that. You want to start shifting your perspective towards an attitude of, yes, I'm seeing this, I know it's happening, but at the same time, I know it can change, and I know it will change, and I know I'm able to change it. So this is what it ultimately means to ignore the 3D. It means you shut out whatever circumstances you don't like that might be currently present in your life, and getting into a mindset of, I know this is just one reality. I know this is just one version of reality. However, I also know there are infinite other versions of reality that I can bring about into my 3D by changing my dominant inner states, my dominant inner energies, my dominant inner assumptions about myself, about others, about my desires, about my life in general. And for all of you who might be looking at the 3D for movement, or you might be seeing some circumstances you don't like, and you might be complaining about it, and you might be feeling discouraged, you don't want to keep your mind stuck on that. You don't want to keep your mind stuck on the circumstances or the perceived problems or the perceived blocks. You want to rise past that and above that and remind yourself that as long as I shift who I am within, how I feel within, how I'm thinking within, what my assumptions are, then my 3D has no choice but to actually change. And this is why I can safely ignore it by remaining indifferent to it, because I know this is only temporary. It's as temporary as my dominant inner states are. Once my dominant inner states change, my 3D is going to change as well. And this is why I can ignore it by staying indifferent to it and just go about my life knowing that what I desire is manifesting, is coming, it has no choice but to come to me. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.